Chipiona's coastline at sunrise, the sound of seagulls, waves hitting the rocks, and faint Spanish guitar. The sun casts a golden glow over the ancient town. A sense of timeless beauty and deep history permeates the air. Rocío Jurado. There are voices that simply sing. And then there are voices that are a landscape, a history, a feeling. Rocío Jurado wasn't just a singer. She was a force of nature, a seismic event in the world of music. When she opened her mouth to sing, it felt as though the very soul of Spain, and indeed the heart of every Spanish-speaking land, paused to listen, to feel, to remember. Spain gave her a stage, a canvas for her unparalleled talent. The world, from the bustling streets of Madrid to the vibrant plazas of Latin America, offered her its rapt attention and thunderous applause. And we, the fortunate ones, were blessed to live in an era where her magnificent voice resonated, a beacon of passion and authenticity. Today, we embark on a journey to honor La Más Grande, the greatest. This is more than a tribute. It's a heartfelt homage, a celebratory exploration of a life lived with unparalleled intensity and grace. We will traverse the humble beginnings that shaped her spirit, witness her meteoric rise to global stardom, delve into the personal battles she faced with unwavering courage, and ultimately, embrace the eternal legacy she so profoundly etched into the fabric of Spanish culture. This isn't merely a story about music. It's a profound narrative about culture, about the indomitable spirit of a woman, about resilience, and about what it truly means to live passionately, to love fiercely, and to leave an indelible mark on the world. For every fan, every Spaniard, every Latino, every Melómano, and every soul drawn to a life lived fully, this is Rocío Jurado's story. I-940's Chipiona. Narrow, sun-drenched streets, whitewashed houses, small fishing boats bobbing gently in the harbor, children playing simple games, women chatting in doorways. The images evoke a strong sense of nostalgia and community. Our story begins not on a grand stage, but in the humble, sun-kissed embrace of Chipiona, a small fishing town nestled on the coast of Cádiz, Andalusia. It was here, in 1944, that María del Rocío Trinidad Mojedano Jurado first drew breath. This was a place where the rhythm of the waves was a constant lullaby, where tradition ran as deep as the ocean itself, and where flamenco wasn't just a musical genre, it was the very pulse of life, an unfiltered expression of joy and sorrow. Rocío's family, like many in post-war Spain, was not wealthy. She grew up in a modest home, her childhood soundtracked by the ceaseless murmur of the sea and the vibrant, often melancholic voices of neighbors singing folk songs in the courtyards. It was amidst these simple, authentic surroundings, in the very dust of those ancient streets, that her extraordinary gift first began to reveal itself, a quiet miracle waiting to erupt. By the tender age of 8, Rocío was already captivating local audiences, her voice soaring at festivals and family gatherings. People spoke of her having duende, that rare, almost mystical quality in flamenco, a spiritual essence that transcends mere performance. It's when the singer doesn't just interpret a song, but channels something ancient, profound, and almost supernatural, touching the very soul of the listener. Her childhood friends, years later, would recall with a wistful smile. When Rocío sang, we stopped playing. Even as kids, we knew we were listening to something rare, something truly special. While most of us were navigating the simple challenges of childhood, Rocío was already unknowingly shaping the magnificent voice that would one day conquer the grandest arenas and the most discerning hearts across the globe. This was the crucible where her legend was forged. At just 15 years old, a mere girl with an immense dream and an even more immense voice, Rocío made the audacious move to Madrid. Imagine the courage, the sheer audacity of leaving her small, familiar town behind, armed with little more than her raw talent, an unshakable determination, and perhaps a healthy dose of Andalusian stubbornness. This was a leap of faith that would define her destiny. She began her ascent in the intimate, smoky atmosphere of Madrid's tableos, those legendary flamenco clubs where the music is raw, visceral, and utterly unfiltered. It was in these hallowed, often challenging spaces that she honed her craft, learning not just to sing, but to command a room, to weave a spell, to make an audience laugh one moment and weep the next. She mastered the art of connection, of bearing her soul with every note. Rocío was never one to be content with small stages or limited horizons. She auditioned relentlessly, pushing herself onto bigger platforms, her ambition as boundless as her vocal range. It wasn't long before the discerning ears of record producers and talent scouts took notice of this extraordinary young woman. Her star was undeniably on the rise. By the vibrant, transformative decade of the 1960s, Spain had found its new, undeniable diva. Rocío Jurado wasn't merely a rising star. She was the star, a luminous presence whose voice promised to redefine an era. She was a phenomenon, a voice that demanded attention and respect. What truly set Rocío apart, what elevated her beyond her contemporaries, wasn't just her astonishing vocal range or her impeccable technique. It was her audacious courage to experiment, to innovate. She took the traditional Copla, those deeply emotional Spanish songs of love, betrayal, heartbreak, and longing, and infused them with a modern sensibility, making them accessible, universal, and utterly timeless. She wasn't afraid to blend genres, to push boundaries, to make the ancient feel new again. And let's be honest, let's give credit where it's profoundly due. Only Rocío Jurado possessed the unique magic to belt out a tragic ballad about the deepest heartbreak, about love lost and dreams shattered, and still, somehow, make you want to raise a glass, stomp your foot, and shout with every fiber of your being, "Olé!" Her performances were not just concerts, they were cathartic experiences. By the dynamic 1970s, Rocío Jurado's fame had transcended the borders of her beloved Spain. She was no longer just Spain's pride, she was a global phenomenon, embarking on extensive, triumphant tours across Latin America, the United States, and beyond. From the bustling, passionate streets of Mexico City to the sophisticated stages of Buenos Aires, from the vibrant energy of Miami to the iconic grandeur of New York City, her voice resonated. Crowds, often composed of people who didn't fully understand every Spanish lyric, felt every single note she sang, every raw emotion she conveyed. That, my friends, is the unparalleled power of emotion in music. It needs no translation, no dictionary, no cultural guide. It speaks directly to the heart, bypassing all barriers. Rocío became more than an artist. She became a bridge, a cultural ambassador who carried the rich tapestry of Spanish music, its passion, its history, and its soul, onto the global stage, introducing it to millions who had never experienced its magic before. Her impact was profound, her reach immense. And here's a truly remarkable, almost legendary fact. Rocío Jurado was one of the very few Spanish singers, a select and elite group, to fill the legendary Madison Square Garden in New York City. Think about that for a moment. Thousands upon thousands of people in the heart of one of the world's most diverse and demanding cities, hanging on to every single syllable, every nuanced inflection of a woman from a small fishing town in Chipiona. That, unequivocally, is the very definition of greatness, of a talent that transcends all boundaries. She didn't just perform, she captivated, she mesmerized, she conquered. But Rocío Jurado was so much more than just the dazzling performer, the global superstar. Beneath the glittering gowns and the powerful stage presence, she was a daughter, a devoted mother, a passionate wife, and a loyal friend. She loved with an intensity that mirrored her singing. She laughed with a joyous abandon that filled any room. And yes, she cried with a depth of emotion that spoke volumes of her profound sensitivity. She lived every emotion to its fullest. Her personal relationships, particularly her high-profile marriages, were often the fodder for relentless tabloid headlines. From her passionate union with the celebrated boxer Pedro Carrasco, a love story that captivated a nation, to her later marriage with the bullfighter José Ortega Cano, the media followed her every move, dissecting every detail. Yet, behind the relentless glare of the headlines, behind the public persona, was a woman who, despite her extraordinary life, yearned for a semblance of normalcy, for the simple joys of family and home. Those closest to her, her friends and family, consistently described her as remarkably down-to-earth, grounded despite her stratospheric fame. They would recount how she could perform for presidents and royalty one night, dazzling them with her artistry, and then, the very next morning, be found in her kitchen, apron on, lovingly cooking a traditional meal for her family, She was, in so many beautiful ways, the embodiment of balance, a dazzling supernova of glamour on stage, yet profoundly human, warm and authentic at home. And perhaps this profound duality, this seamless blend of the extraordinary and the ordinary, is precisely why her songs resonated so deeply, why they cut straight to the heart of millions. Because they emanated from someone who had truly lived, truly felt, truly experienced every single emotion she poured into her music. Her voice was not just a sound. It was a testament to a life fully lived, a heart fully felt. Now, let's talk about that voice. Because honestly, it doesn't just deserve its own spotlight, it demands an entire galaxy of its own. Rocío Jurado's vocal power, her sheer command over her instrument, was utterly unmatched, a phenomenon in itself. She possessed a rare gift, a voice that could shift effortlessly from the raw, guttural intensity of flamenco, steeped in centuries of tradition and pain, to a bolero dripping with the most exquisite romance and tender longing, then seamlessly transitioned to a contemporary pop ballad that felt cinematic in its scope and emotional depth. Her repertoire was staggering. It's said she recorded over 300 songs throughout her illustrious lifetime, spanning an incredible array of genres and decades. Yet, with every single performance, every new interpretation, she managed to make it feel fresh, vital, and utterly her own. She didn't just sing songs, she inhabited them, breathed life into them, made them her personal narrative. And here's something truly fascinating, something that speaks to her unparalleled artistry. Musicologists and critics often draw parallels between Rocío's astonishing versatility and the legendary talents of global icons like Edith Piaf, with her raw emotional power, Aretha Franklin, with her soulful command, or Maria Callas, with her dramatic operatic prowess. That, my friends, is the caliber, the stratospheric level we are talking about when we speak of Rocío Jurado. She wasn't merely Spain's greatest singer, though she certainly was that. She was, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the world's greatest voices. Period. Her voice was a force of nature, an instrument of unparalleled beauty and power, capable of expressing the entire spectrum of human emotion with breathtaking authenticity. It was a gift to humanity. As the new millennium dawned in the early 2000s, Rocío Jurado faced the toughest, most personal battle of her extraordinary life, a relentless fight against illness, against cancer. It was a challenge that would test her spirit, her strength, and her unwavering will to live. Yet, true to her character, she did not hide from it. She confronted her illness with the same fierce courage, the same indomitable spirit, and the same profound dignity with which she had lived every single day of her life. Even as her health began its inevitable decline, she continued to make public appearances, to offer her radiant smile to her adoring fans, and to remind the world through her sheer presence that her spirit, her essence, was utterly unbreakable. She was a warrior until the very end. When she finally passed away in the summer of 2006, a profound silence fell over Spain, quickly followed by an outpouring of national grief. The country declared days of official mourning. Streets across Spain and Latin America were filled with people, their faces streaked with tears, singing her iconic songs, leaving mountains of flowers, and sharing stories of how her music had touched their lives. It wasn't just the loss of an artist, however magnificent. It was the profound, heartbreaking loss of a national treasure, a cultural icon, a beloved member of the collective Spanish-speaking family. Her passing left an irreplaceable void. But here's the beautiful, undeniable truth, the enduring testament to her greatness. Rocío Jurado never truly left us. Her spirit, her voice, her passion, they are all still vibrantly alive, echoing through the generations. Her songs, timeless and potent, are still played with reverence and joy at weddings, celebrating new beginnings. They fill the air at family gatherings, evoking cherished memories. They resonate through festivals, uniting communities in shared emotion. Her profound influence is palpable in the voices and artistry of countless younger Spanish and Latin American singers who openly acknowledge her as their muse, their teacher, their inspiration. And her courage, her unwavering determination to live passionately, to love without reservation, to face adversity with grace, that remains an enduring example, a guiding light for us all. Rocío Jurado's history is inextricably woven into the very fabric of Spain's history, a vibrant thread in its rich tapestry. And her music, her magnificent, soul-stirring music, it is not merely a collection of songs. It is an eternal flame, a legacy that will burn brightly, forever. It is a gift that continues to give, a voice that continues to inspire, a story that continues to captivate. For me, and I believe for so many of us, Rocío Jurado represents a kind of artistry that feels increasingly rare in our fast-paced world. Raw, fearless, utterly unfiltered, and profoundly authentic. She didn't just hit notes with precision. She told stories with every fiber of her being, stories that resonated with the universal human experience. She didn't just perform, she lived the music. But now, I want to hear from you, our incredible community of fans, melómanos, and storytellers. Your connection to Rocío is just as vital as her music itself. What is your absolute favorite Rocío Jurado performance? The one that sends shivers down your spine every time? Do you remember the very first time you heard her magnificent voice and how it made you feel? And if you're discovering her for the very first time through this heartfelt tribute, what struck you the most about her life, about her unparalleled artistry? Please share your thoughts, your memories, your emotions, and your favorite moments in the comments section below. I'll be reading every single one because your stories, your personal connections, keep her memory alive just as powerfully as her timeless songs do. Let's keep her spirit vibrant together. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive, this journey through the life of Más Grande, please help us continue to grow this channel. Trending moment now. Go ahead and give that like button a little tap. It's like our secret handshake, a signal to YouTube to say, hey, share this beautiful tribute with even more people who cherish music, history, and profound human stories. Share this video with your friends, your family, anyone who appreciates true artistry. And if you're new here, if you've just joined our community, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future explorations. Because this channel isn't just about watching videos. It's about remembering, it's about celebrating, it's about connecting, and it's about honoring the legends who shaped our world. Rocío Jurado, La Más Grande. A voice that will never fade, a story that will never be forgotten, an eternal flame in the heart of Spanish culture. Thank you for joining us on this tribute.